Good afternoon, everyone. Nutty Historian here. Well, today's topic is a really interesting one. It's about Mount Athos. For those who really don't know, Mount Athos or Aioros is a mountain at the peninsula in Macedonia. It's on the third leg, so to speak, of Chalkidiki. Mount Athos is a home of 20 Eastern Orthodox monasteries. 17 are Greek and 3 are Bulgarian, Serbian, and Russian. These monasteries are under the direct jurisdiction of the Patriarch of Constantinople, and today Greeks commonly refer to Mount Athos as the Holy Mountain, or as in Greek it's called to Aioros. In classical times, while the mountain was called Athos, the peninsula was called Akti. Now, Mount Athos is practically accessible only by boat. There are 2 ferries that travel daily between, they start from the city of Uranopoli, and they go to the port, the biggest port of Mount Athos, Daphne, which in a sense it does some stops at some monasteries on the western coast, of course, along its way. There's also a speedboat that travels with no stops directly from Uranopoli to Daphne. Now, the daily number of visitors at Mount Athos is restricted, basically, and all are required to obtain a special entrance permit valid for a limited period, and that is called the Diamonitirio, that helps you visit up to 3 days each monastery. So you can't stay for 3 nights at the same monastery. You have to travel from monastery to monastery. Now, the interesting part on this peninsula is that only men are permitted to, or they're allowed entrance at Mount Athos, and that is why it's called by monks the Avato. That only, in Greek, Avato means that only men are allowed and not women. It's also called the Garden of the Virgin Mary by the monks, and Orthodox Christians take precedence in the permit assurance procedure. And only males over the age of 18 who are members of the Eastern Orthodox Church are allowed to live on Athos, either as monks or as workers. Now, in antiquity, Athos in Greek mythology was the name of one of the giants, the Gigantes, that challenged the Greek gods during the Titan battle, or so-called Gigantomachίες. Athos, as the legend goes, threw a massive rock against the sea god, the god of sea, Poseidon, which fortunately fell in the Aegean Sea and became Mount Athos. According to another version of the legend, of the Greek mythology, Poseidon used the mountain to bury the defeated giants. Now, according to the early Christianity and the Athonite tradition, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Panagia, was sailing from Iopi, or Joppa, that's in Israel, it's a city in Israel, to Cyprus, accompanied by St. John the Evangelist. the beloved disciple of Jesus. They were going to visit Lazarus from Joppa to Cyprus. When the ship, of course, after a typhoon, the ship was blown off course, and it sailed, or actually it landed at near the port of Clement at Mount Athos. That's a port very close to the present monastery of Iviron. Now, the Virgin Mary walked ashore and was very astonished and overwhelmed by the beauty and wild natural resources they had on the mountain. She blessed it and asked her son Jesus for it to be her garden. And a voice from above was heard saying, "Let this place be your inheritance and your garden, a paradise and a haven of salvation for those seeking to be saved." Well, the first in the 9th century, the first person in the 9th century who went and founded the monastery of Ayalavra is called Saint Athanasius, the monk Saint Athanasius, who first monk was there in 908. And we have documents about that to prove that. But the interesting part is that during the Ottoman era, or the Turkish rule, the monks, Greek monks, were hiding from the Turks, the Greek warriors, and they were also protecting them from the Ottomans, who were forcing the Greeks to get out of the region. Now, it's the interesting part here is that women are prohibited, but during the years of history, Athos did shelter refugees, including women and girls, all over history during the aftermath of the Orlov Revolution, during Greek War independence, as we just said, of 1821, and Jewish families during World War II. For example, in the 14th century, the Tsar Stefan Dusan brought his wife Helena of Bulgaria to Mount Athos to protect her from the plague. But she didn't touch the ground. The interesting part is, during her entire visit, as she was carried in a hand carriage at all times. In 1953, Cora Miller, an American Fulbright program teacher from Athens, Ohio, landed briefly along with 2 other women, stirring up a controversy among the local monks. And finally, French writer Choisy entered Mount Athos in 1920s. She was disguised as a sailor and later wrote about her escapade in A Month with Men. So there are a few incidents that history has recorded that women have gone to Mount Athos, but just for a bit, a little while. Well, that's it for today. I hope you really enjoyed the history of Mount Athos, and I'm sure we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.